What's your off season been like?
I spent the first month and a half in LA. Went home to see my family, and I just miss my friends. So wanted to go get back in the gym with them to start things off, and that was a nice way to begin the off season. I took a little trip to Hawaii, so that was like my first vacation in 10 years, which was great. Made my way out here in early December, and then was here for pushing 3 weeks. Spent a little time in Arizona, and then right back out here. So a lot of bouncing around, but there's peace in all of that I found. So I'm happy. I'm lucky doing it.
I remember asking you early in the year last year about when you had this unbelievable hot streak for the first month, and it went on for a long time. And I asked you who you were as a hitter. Are you a home run hitter or not? And the proof came out yes, but is that the best example in your own mind of who you are rather than just being the all-around really good ball player that you are?
Yeah, I still don't think I'd consider myself a home run hitter. I think power hitter, maybe only because of the doubles. But again, I don't really view myself that way. I'm still 6 foot, 190 pounds. You know, I'm not a very imposing figure out there. So, and I also think I still have the element of, or I think I still have the ability to go hit 290, and do a little bit better job of that OBP number, because that's what it always was. Growing up in Southern California, you know, it was bat to ball and get on base. Really learning how to play the game, and you know, that's only hard to do now because of how good everybody is up at this level. And you know, I think there's a lot of ways to get back to that version of myself, though, and you know, I think the power will still be there with all of that.
You said you've been here since December. Everyone who's watching the Bears lately knows that you've been on the sidelines a lot. So, in the context of this weekend, big game tomorrow.
Yeah.
Are you going? And then how would you describe your level of interest in the Bears and your relationship with Caleb Williams?
Yeah, I will be there. I've been saying it a lot. Like I feel like if I'm here, I might as well take advantage of such a fun team to watch right now. But Caleb's the man. He, you know, we don't know each other that well at this point, but he's been very supportive of this team and me specifically since he's been out here. So it's only right that I dive right in and go support our franchise quarterback, because he's a special talent. But then I think what we're getting to see is, as we play deeper into the year, is how good of a leader he is. So I'm just, you know, I'm proud to kind of follow suit and you know, hopefully take on some sort of role like that eventually.
Before we get back to baseball, I know Bruce is itching to do that. You can help us understand tomorrow. All week we've been talking about Bear weather, the effect that it will have on the Rams. As a guy who grew up in Southern California, what will that shock be like for them tomorrow, and how much impact could it have on the outcome?
Man, I don't know what it's like to take hits in that weather. I mean, you saw Caleb roll his ankle, but I think there's definitely something to the elements and being able to play in the elements. They play under a roof all year, you know. And Matt Stafford's a Hall of Famer, and obviously high chance he wins the MVP this year. But like, you know, he's played in a dome his whole career. So the wind, you know, you've seen it with kicks a lot, or affect kicks a lot. Even in it was the Philly San Fran game, like that pass that Jawan Jennings threw. They showed one angle where like the ball it took a crazy turn, and I think that's just that's something you really got to get used to as the season goes on and become one with it in a way. And it looks like our guys have really done that. So I just think it's a really good football team that we got and a really high-powered offense. So I'm never worried about scoring points. But if we can use the weather to our advantage, I'm sure that'd be really nice.
Speaking of great talents, you have last April you admitted that the Cubs and you were talking about the possibility of a long-term deal. Nothing would delight Cub fans more, and I know you more, than getting something done in that area. How important is that to you, and is there that ability to talk about the situation again, even though players don't like to talk about money? A player like yourself, the magnitude of what you mean to Cub baseball, I think it's appropriate to talk about it at some points. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm always open to, especially you, man. I'm always open to chatting. But it's only important to me because I want to be here for, the long run. It's also slightly irrelevant in the grand scheme of 2026, only because I'm not here to get signed and make money. I'm here to go win baseball games, and so I think it's like the funny mix of I would love to be here. Let's get something done, but I think Jed Carter, Mr. Riggins, like they all know where my head's at, and I think that's the best part about the situation is that I don't want to let it leak into the season again, and I think they're very supportive of that thought. So, I mean, we'll see what happens before the season, and if anything comes up, then
give me a number and we'll get it done today. We're talking to Hoyer later. We're talking to Crane Kenny. We should have it done before the end of the day.
Shoot, I would love it if you put a word in for me, man.
We're talking with Pete Crow-Armstrong here on Inside the Clubhouse, live at the Cub Convention at the Sheraton Grand. Pete, so after the individual season you had last year that was outstanding and the team winning 92 games in a playoff series, going into spring training, how would you describe, I don't want to say the weight of expectations, but dealing with expectations that might not have been as high as they were a year ago?
Nah, whatever expectations are being had right now, they're probably exactly what they should be. I mean, you've seen who we've added, and the confidence that I've seen and felt from my teammates in their own individual self, and then just I think we're all under the same impression that this is a team that can go give anybody hell. So no, I hope people keep their expectations. I think this is going to be that's going to be something that's talked about year in, year out, moving forward here. So, expectations, I think they're most weighted when they're in the clubhouse and what we all want from ourselves. So, yeah, that's what I got on that.
The business of baseball is real. How long does it take a young player, even as sophisticated as you are, knowing about business, knowing about entertainment, when you hear Nico Horner's name being bandied about as far as possibly trading someone who was the most consistent player on the Cubs all year long last year?
That's when business goes out the window for me, because I'm just like, I'll burn the place down if he's gone, you know what I mean? Because I do love Nico, man. He's been super influential in my early career. So, that is a guy that is like the perfect representation. Like if you were to show your kid how to go play ball, it's like you'd show him videos of Nico and how he carries himself. And he's just a very intelligent guy in a ton of different realms. Emotionally, he's very instinctual as well. But I just appreciate who he is in our clubhouse. Not the loudest guy. You don't see him all the time just because he's so locked in on what he feels like he has to do for himself. But man, like he says everything at the right time. There is always, it just feels like when he commands the floor, it's very rare, but it always means something very big, and it's always very well said. And I would like if he could be here for the entire time I'm here, man. He's one of a kind.
So your guy, Caleb Williams, when asked about all the comebacks, this year for the Bears season and all the dramatics that he has mastered, said simply, I'm built for this. He said he's built for this, and that was a great answer, and everyone who has been around him understands what he means. You are as close to what the Cubs have to the face of the franchise. You're a guy who Stardom is right around the corner if it hasn't already arrived. You're in clutch moments. You had the season that you had that you want to downplay. But in what ways do you think you are built for this? What comes with being the Chicago Cubs center fielder?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I'm going to go out there every day. You see the care and the passion, and I don't think that really clicked at first. I've always played really hard, worn that stuff on my sleeve. But everybody sees my emotions get away from me sometimes, and I think to me, that feels like the last piece of the puzzle to where I see some more consistency, and I think that's what a star does. I mean, they're out there every day, and they're showing up for their teammates, but then the fan base that comes and pays to watch them play. So, I just want to be here, and I think that, I'll let myself be myself, and then these people do the rest. I get to play at Wrigley Field every day, and I get to play around All-Stars and Gold Glovers, and I get to play in the best defensive field in the world. And I'm just happy to be in the middle of the field with Nico and Dansby every day, and get to go track balls down for Matty Boyd and now Edward. So I mean, I don't really ever think about that. I love recognizing Caleb as the star of the show because he's not me. Like, he is so cool and individual in his own right, and he is a star for sure. We'll see, what happens when I get there. I'm just trying to continue the history that this organization has in whatever way that I can.
How did that party Thursday night with the entire team at Wrigley Field, in the clubhouse, in the 1914 club, super evening, was it everything that you would hope it would be in a celebration of something special in Cub history?
Yeah, I mean, Tom, Mr. Ricketts did it right, always, as he always does here, for us and for this organization. And it was great to see everyone. It was great to see all the families. All the kids are grown up. Lester's kids for the first time. I saw him a few months ago. Instead of giving me big hugs, it was like, hey, Mr. Rizzo. And it was like, whoa, what the hell? Where did time go? So, but to see everyone and to hang, it went by fast, but we enjoyed it.
It is a full circle moment, baby, because you have been on the side of this convention where you come in as a prospect, as a guy that has not yet established himself, and now you're coming back to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the greatest sports story ever told. What is that like for you to have come full circle, and what goes through your head when you walk in here this weekend?
It was cool. I mean, obviously it's different now, not playing at all and being on the other side, but like for Bregman, right, him signing last week and then getting to experience this is different, right? No one really does this. I think the Red Sox have a really big convention too, but this is I remember my first time in 2012 coming, and I was like, what is this? This is insane. So, and that's a testament to all the Cubs fans. But now to be on the other side and to see the team, the current team out there, it put me back like, man, like whenever I saw former players come in, like I just wanted to pick their brains all the time.
I talked to your beautiful wife, and congratulations again on your
Thank you.
Your child. It's so awesome for you to be a dad. I know you're going to be the greatest dad ever. But I said, can you guys, afford to be here and buy a house here in Chicago and still be in Florida? She said, we have plenty of money. I mean, that's
love that answer.
So typical of, you guys fitting so well together as a couple and people. But the reality is, how much time will you be able to spend in Chicago? I know you have bigger aspirations. I know you started a podcast with Rossi, and you're going to be doing a lot of stuff. How much of a media person do you want to be?
We'll see. We're kind of getting everything in line for this year, and we're going to see how. Hopefully, I'm here a good amount, right? So. I'll probably try to delay being here until the summer because this weather's just too cold, and I don't need to deal with that anymore. But I'm sure opening day and for big series, and we be popping in and out. We still have a lot of friends here and family here.
What was the best moment Thursday night at the dinner?
The best moment Thursday night, just walking in. You know, being in the clubhouse, and it was honestly like we had just clinched the series, and we're getting ready for a next series because when we did clinch, that's what those parties were like. So a lot of laughs, and you see guys and you pick right back up where you left off, and that's just a testament to how special that team was.
The fun watching you guys last night on Marquee with Ryan Dempster and the special show, and just busting each other again, like you saying to Fowler, yeah, we had to pretty much teach you how to play when you got here. I mean, stuff like that is priceless and so great for myself and all fans, you know, to be able to see that inside part of what it's really like, right? Do you crave that from other sports when you want to know what's really going on with a team and, you know, following the Dolphins as much as you did, following the other sports?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how much does that mean to you as a fan now?
Well, I think all the information is out there for everyone. So everyone has all the data. Everyone has everything that you can have under the sun right on your phone. What you can't get is the stories, the inside information. So last night we went to dinner afterwards, and there was 6 or 7 of us, and all of us had, except Travis Wood, which I got this wrong, but we all had 10-plus major league years of service, and we're all sitting there, all going around giving toasting Johnny Lester for his Hall of Fame, 2-time Hall of Famer, hopefully 3 here in a few years with Cooperstown. But we're so close, and I used to preach that afterwards, even 17 and on, like, you can do your own thing, especially in today's game. A lot of people are their own entity, right, with all the platforms you can be on, and you can get lost, but you become this brotherhood when you win, and it makes everything worth it.
So we know that you're going to be around a lot. You're not sure about how much media you will be doing, but we do know you have a couple things on your docket. Number one, the Bank of America Marathon next October, which actually is going to be right here on the score. So if you want to do it while mic'd, be fine. We can mic you up for the entire race. Also, we learned a couple weeks ago that you were invited to play for Team Italy in the World Baseball Classic. Is that going to happen?
No.
And no?
Nope. Ned Colletti called me last year, and I was very humbled by the call, honestly. And we had spoke, and I was telling Ned, I was like, Ned, if I don't get the absolute right opportunity right now, I'm completely at peace being done playing. And I can't keep one foot in for a whole year. We're about to have a baby, and I was like, there's no way I can keep myself even entertained to play in spring training this year. So I'll be watching from the couch. I'll be cheering on Team USA, Team Italy, all the teams. But hopefully when they're in Miami, I can catch a few games.
Where did the marathon desire come from? And were you able to talk into Jake Arrieta or David Ross or somebody running with you? Because obviously misery loves company.
Yeah, Jake's going to do it. I'm excited for him. I'm trying to get Matt Caesar to do it. He's an absolute beast. And I don't think Rossi's going to be able to do it. He's a little too old for it, I think. But no, he's got some bum knees from catching all those years. Emily ran it. My wife Emily ran the New York Marathon, and in New York we lived right there on 2nd Ave, and it's such a moving thing. I was here a few years seeing the Chicago Marathon, but I never actually witnessed it in person. And you see all these people running for. First off, they're running for a lot of different causes, and how hard it is to run. It's a new challenge. I've been struggling to work out, actually, like lift weights, but the running part has been a lot of fun because it's such a challenge.
The thing that I like the most about you is you were a great player, but you were a great human being. And that's what I was always drawn to initially and still are. The money that you and Emily and your family foundation has raised for pediatric cancer is phenomenal. But after beating cancer, how much did your life change? Has everything else been easy because of that philosophical and physical change that you had to go through in your life?
Yeah, I mean, going through that, you don't ever want to go through cancer. And unfortunately, I'm sure most people in this room know someone or attached to someone who has gone through it. So it was awful. I was 18. I was very young and naive to life. I was on top of the world. And when you do face that type of challenge in your life, it definitely shifts perspective moving forward. And for me, I've always kept a great perspective on life. And when things get hard, you just have to live in the moment. Everyone's like, oh, it goes by fast. And I agree, but I hate that, because it's like you try to stay in every moment and enjoy it as much as you can, because it does go by so fast. So that's the biggest lesson I learned, is just really staying in every single moment and trying to be as present as you can.
All right, before we let you go, you're a podcaster now, so you got all kinds of hot takes. Looking at this Cub team, signing Alex Bregman, trading for Cabrera, knowing what they accomplished last year, what are reasonable expectations, realistic goals for this Cub team 2026?
I mean, they have to come together and get off to a good start. That's first and foremost, right? But they got a taste of October, and Wrigley looked absolutely insane during it. They go to Game 5 with the Brewers, and obviously they fall short, right? But getting that taste is addicting, and it was the first time for a lot of those guys. So you make big trades, you make big signs, and hopefully they put themselves in a very good position to go after it at the deadline and really make a splash at the trade deadline. And if they put themselves in that position, I know Tom and Jed will go for it. So the realistic expectation is to win every day, and you've got to build belief to really believe that you're a World Series contender.
I have to admit that I've never been disappointed in your play, but how did you miss that ball when he was hitting the outfield?
Well, two things. Emily was down feeding the baby, so I had my phone in my hand texting her. So I actually blame it on Emily, because I was like, hey, you okay? Because the baby was 3 months old at that point, so it was a lot for him. And just making sure she was all right. And then I still have my hand from the World Series the year before was still in somewhat recovery mode. So trying to catch that, it was a combination of things. But at the end of the day, that's why I retired, because I can't do it anymore.
The most surrealistic moment I've ever seen is a ball in a ballpark on your day, 40,000 people in it, and it's hit to you.
Right to you.
It was the best day.
It can't happen. It can't happen.
That day was so special, and I'm already pushing the Cubs for our reunion weekend. Like, that's the blueprint. We got to sit out in the bleachers and just have a party, because it was the perfect day at Wrigley, and I feel like it was. I mean, I was celebrated so much. They were so amazing, and hopefully we can run that back. I definitely plan on sitting in the bleachers, a little more incognito in the future, but
no shadow boxing out there.
Yeah, no.
Well, you can tell you're always going to be welcome back here. Look at the fans around you. Anthony Rizzo,
Thank you.
Cub ambassador, former first baseman, World Series champion. It's fun, Jed, when the Bears are good. It's fun when the Cubs are good. When they're both good, I don't know how to act.
No, it's fantastic. The energy of the city around the Bears it's great. And listen, the whole season, I feel like, it's built towards this. I mean, all the comebacks, all the great wins, and then the way they've the two games against the Packers, two incredible comebacks. I mean, they've not only are they good, but the way they've done it is the most appealing way possible.
It's great that the
I unplugged Bruce.
Yeah. Well, Jed's had to talk.
Don't forget how to do that.
Jed's had to talk to me 3 days in a row, and he doesn't even like the first day talking to me. So 3 is it's wearing him out. How is it to feel like the organization? Not that you care about white noise all the time, but that you guys aren't being talked about as not wanting to win and too cheap to get the best players. How gratifying is it to you to be able to have Bregman make that great trade for Cabrera right now and be set up as an even better team than your playoff team last year right now?
Yeah, I think the most important thing we always talk about is just being a healthy organization. You want to have young talent. You want to have books that are clean. You want to have contracts on your books that are good. And I think we're in that position. So there's always room for improvement. There's always ways to get better. But I do feel like we're in a healthy place. We have a good team. We have a fun team to watch. I think we do a lot of things the right way. We run the bases really well. We play great defense. We make a lot of contact. We throw a ton of strikes. And so, like I said, we still have work to do. We still have moves to make. But I do feel like we're in a good position. When I look around the field, both in terms of the players I see and like the humans I see, I feel like we're in a really good place.
Free agency is so complicated because there's so many factors that determine who you can pursue and why they may choose you. But when did you determine that Alex Bregman was the guy you thought was attainable, and what did you accomplish by signing him?
So I think that's a great point, and one of the things we talk about all the time is, the reason you can't depend on free agency to build your team is you just don't know, like, which team could outbid you, which player's wife hates that city, like there's all these weird factors, which ballpark the player doesn't like to play in, which player on that team he doesn't like and doesn't want to be a teammate with. Like, there's so many things. So if you are going into an offseason and you need 3 or 4 things to happen in free agency, like, good luck. It's so hard. I think with Bregman, we had a lot of contact last year. I knew that Chicago was a really appealing place to him. I think he saw Wrigley as a place he would like to play. He loved the city. The biggest thing with that one is I knew that Boston would be real competition. And so, going in, I thought, candidly, it was a coin flip. We knew we wanted to, go after him, pursue him, but we also knew, like, he had a really good experience in Boston, and that's a great place to play also. So, I think we were very fortunate to get the deal done. But free agency is complicated by money. It's complicated by the fact that the players can choose. And we were fortunate to get this one across the finish line, but it's difficult.
I know that people think you're done. I don't think you're done. I know the competitor that you are. I know that the Ricketts family wants to win. So I envision the new version of contracts impacting you even further before the season starts, and that is short-term contracts for very good players. Give the player the money up front and give the flexibility to teams to project past this year. So I think a free agent, another free agent starting pitcher is in your future, and the ability to have depth and make more trades is there because you have $100 million possibly coming off the books next year. People don't look at projections of teams. I look at projections.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're not done. I think we're going to continue to look and see what's out there. The deal has to make sense for us. It has to fill a hole. It has to make financial sense. But, yeah, there's no doubt that the trend this winter certainly has been towards shorter deals. And I think the reason for that is pretty obvious, that you've got CBA questions coming up after this year. So I think people are reluctant to give really long deals not knowing what the rules are. And so I think that's leading to these sort of short, high deals. And so we'll see. I mean, it is interesting. I mean, I've done this for a long time. So I've gone through a bunch of these CBA cycles, but when you get into the last year, people start to make decisions a bit different, and I think that's going to be the case now. I think that's going to be the case at the deadline, and then I think that's going to be the case right after the season. So I think that's going to be something we talk about a lot for the next year.
We're talking with Jed Hoyer, the Cubs team president, here at the Cub Convention from the Sheraton Grand on Inside the Clubhouse, Chicago Sports Radio 670 The Score. Jed, how would you characterize the interest from teams in trading for Nico Hoerner? And while the team is gathered here this weekend, is that something that you address directly with the player? What is your policy when these rumors, they take shape and they are given voice, and then they have to address them like Nico did yesterday, very professionally answering all the questions?
Well, it's hard to be more professional than he is. I mean, he's just who he is, super engaging and thoughtful. And I think one of the real advantages when you draft players and develop players and keep them as you develop these relationships. And so, without going into our discussions, it allows for...
It's okay.
It allows for real transparency and dialogue, with someone that you've known for a long time. Of course teams are calling because he's really good, and I think that's obvious. And they call about a lot of our players. And I say the same thing all the time, which is, I have to do my job. I have to listen to what's out there. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't listen. And so, people call about a lot of our guys all the time, and most of that stuff doesn't get out in the media. But when it does, you have to address it. I do think one advantage we have is that when you're in a larger city, in a bigger market with a bigger media presence, there's just going to be more of those rumors. And I think the players sort of get used to it. I think if you're in a smaller market and this happens, you're kind of freaked out by it. I think in a bigger market, it's not the first time that our players have gone through this, and I think that's helpful.
We talk about extensions, and people forget that it's two sides to every extension. We look at the trades you had to make at 21, those great players that we were celebrating this weekend here at the Cub Convention. And the fact is that their ideas about what they need to get paid is not necessarily the reality. You came out smelling really good as an organization from those trades and moving on from stars. Can you talk about, extensions right now and the fact that you talked in November about the fact that you'd like to be able to talk extension, you'd like to bring back some of these really fine players that can be free agents next year? So,
and certainly that's still the case, and we still would love to. I think extensions are fascinating, right? Because ultimately, the player has to make a decision, and the organization has to make a decision. Right now, like we, with any of our young players, you effectively have like kind of 5 club options on a guy with arbitration, right? So, through arbitration, you have real flexibility, and so the organization has to give up that flexibility and has to guarantee a bunch of money, and the player has to decide that security is worth something, because ultimately, like your highest potential to make money is to not sign a deal and to become a free agent. And so those two things have to come together. The team, never just says, okay, we'll give you everything you want. What was your 100 percentile outcome in free agency? Okay, we'll do that. And so you have to work together to figure out where that balance is, and it's complicated. But we've had it. Kyle Hendricks or Anthony Rizzo, Nico. We've gotten a bunch of these deals done, but it is challenging because you have to find that balance of what the team is willing to guarantee versus the player has to take some percentage less than their perfect outcome.
Just aside from that, you and Theo saved the Cubs over $100 million on the Anthony Rizzo contract. Anthony never bad-rapped you guys because he made a lot of money for himself, guaranteed himself money when he wasn't a star yet. So, but it is very complicated.
It goes both ways, yeah.
It goes both ways. But I remember that year we did. So I remember I used to drive my dog to and from spring training, and I remember negotiating the deal for Rizzo while I was driving my dog back. Like I was in the middle of New Mexico or something, and the deal fell apart because he wanted more money than Paul Goldschmidt had gotten, and then we ended up getting it done, I think, in late April, early May, something like that. But I remember at the end of the season, there was 5 or 6 players that had signed deals in spring training early in that season, and Fangraphs rated the 5 deals, and we were the worst deal. They're like, yeah, this deal, like Anthony didn't have a great year actually in 2013, I believe it was.
Right.
And so you realize with all of these things, there's going to be these ups and downs. Obviously, it ended up being an incredible deal for the club, but we had to take a risk at the time and sort of got criticized for it at the time that we shouldn't have done that deal. One of the best things about Anthony that I love, he knows that we got a really good deal on him, but he's always said he felt like it allowed him, to relax in this play. And I think there's certain players who love the idea of being a free agent and love the kind of pressure that comes with having to perform each year. And there's other guys that just want to buy a house in Chicago. They want to feel comfortable. And it really is a personality thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. If a player says, hey, I don't care about that, I just want to be a free agent, I respect that. If a player says, hey, I really want comfort, I respect that too. It's really a personality decision. And like Anthony understood that deal helped him become a better player.
So next October, it will be 15 years since you came to Chicago.
Yep.
And imagine that the other night, Thursday, when you're celebrating the 2016 World Series championship, so many different emotions came in because now you're the guy that everyone's looking at. Okay, you need to worry about winning now in your job as team president. And then you're around these guys in 2016. You're a different role, maybe a different person. You come here 15 years ago. The evolution of your job, how you have changed, what goes through your mind when you have a night of nostalgia like Thursday night became?
Gray hair.
Yeah, I know. God, I was. Yes. It was even watching that when they were showing the Leicester Hall of Fame thing last night. And I was like looking at the press conference, like, oh God. Yeah, time flies, honestly. But it was really fun. I look at the 16 team, and I say this with all humility. That team was created based on a really good long-term plan, and I won't use the tanked word, but we made a lot of trades, and we're not very good for about 3 years.
There were a lot of intentional decisions.
Yeah, there was a lot of intentional decisions to build that up, and we built up this pool of young players, and then we spent a bunch of money on other players on top of that. And so I think the part that gives me the most pride is, A, it's a great group of guys that were back, and it was so fun to be with them, but also from a front office standpoint that was born of some real pain. And it's easy to forget in 2013 and 2014, people were really frustrated by those decisions. And by the way, and I love Ryan Poles, we're seeing the same thing now. There's this success right now from the Bears is born of a lot of really intentional decisions that were painful in that moment, and so I think that's the nature of it. But it was, in general, 2016 was so special, and it was such a great group of guys, and it was weird. I went back in 2014 for the 10-year anniversary of the Red Sox, and Theo and I flew back for it, and we had so much fun. But I wasn't an employee of the team still, so it was kind of more of a night of nostalgia. I went down from my office to this party the other night, which felt very different. But I feel like, first of all, I'm so happy I'm still here. But at the same time, it felt different because I'm still so much in the moment, in this world. And really, it just gives you motivation for, all these things that we do. It's so hard to win, and when you do win, you should celebrate it so much, and it gives you motivation to just, how do we do this again, because it is so special.
It was a very funny story aside. October 24th, 2011, Theo's being introduced, and I get on the phone and I call a hotel in the blind, okay? And I asked for Jed Hoyer's room, and he hadn't been named anything yet. And Jed, they put me through, and he actually picks up, and we start talking. I said, "You're going to be the general manager, right?" He said, "Yeah, but you can't say you talked to me. You can't, And so it was so much fun to see the evolution of that period into today, and how far we've come. How many times you've hated me since that over the 15 years?
Often, but yeah, that was a welcome to Chicago moment. I was I'd gone from Boston to then I'm in San Diego. There's no media, and I think I was still a Padre employee at the time, but this deal was going to happen, and so I was sort of I was in this hotel room in Chicago, sort of waiting for everything to get signed off on so that we could announce it, but it was totally secret. And then Bruce calls, and I answer the phone thinking it's the front desk saying I have, and I was like, oh God. So yeah, that was something.
Yeah, you're back in the big city.
I'm back in a big city again. Yeah, and that was so funny. And I remember telling Theo, I think this bad secret is already out, that I'm coming to Chicago. But it is, it was really fun to see him the other night too, and to think about, again, the 10-year anniversary, and to think about coming here, with just the dream of trying to relive 2004, and to even surpass that was incredible.
All right, Jed, it's been just as long between Bears playoff victory. So before we let you go, what happens tomorrow? Bears Rams, Soldier Field, 5:30.
Now, I feel really good about it. I think you want to play a warm weather team that's comfortable in the cold weather, and I think it's going to go well. Listen, I hope they don't make it the degree of difficulty as much as they have. I mean, it's been they've been falling behind and then coming back, but no, I feel really good about it. I think Caleb's ability to rise to the moment is becoming the kind of stuff of legend. I thought I don't remember the exact. It was a 4th and 8 throw or whatever. With the guy on his leg. I mean, that was the game, and that was just such an incredible moment. And then even going back to I was at the Packers game with the boys. I think it was on that Saturday night game in December 20th or whatever. Yep. And the throws he made at the end of that game were so unbelievable. So I feel really good about it. I think he's going to play great, and I think the weather is going to bother the Rams. So it should be a lot of fun.
Jed Hoyer, Cubs team president.
Thanks, guys.
Joining us
Appreciate
here on
it.
Inside the Clubhouse. Thank you, Jed.